Voiceover jump scare. Last month, I decided to redraw this painting with this character and wanted to make a speed paint out of it. If you're one of the 3 people who know both Beatrice and Mai Akasaki, you probably find this choice quite interesting. The speed paint was the initial plan, at least, because I hadn't posted one since August 2023. Jesus fucking lord. Then I had a more fun and time-consuming idea. What if I talked a bit more about my process with digitally painting? The last time I showcased it on this channel was through the aforementioned speed paint with a character from the same web series. It might be useful if you want to tackle digital painting for the first time. As an example, Shuin Art's process video made it seem much less intimidating to approach for me. Though this may not be a tutorial, I hope it's helpful. Here is how Nooty, Violet Stration's last name, approaches digital painting as of December 2025. We start off with the sketch. A fun fact about me is that I fucking hate doing the sketch. Unfortunately, it is the foundation of everything I draw, so I can't exactly skip it. It's like removing your own skeleton. I haven't trained enough to do that yet. This wasn't that hard though. At its core, I'm drawing a pretty girl facing the right and standing quite straight. You probably spotted in the first few seconds that I did debate making her sit down or not. It's rather ambiguous in the original painting. It's obscured by Beatrice's massive dress. But you'd have to assume so. Every other Umineko portrait features a throne. I even redrew this one here with David a year back. I'm starting to think I have a very specific niche. Anyways, I was in my comfort zone. I even did the thing of tracing the pose to figure out the shapes, then redrawing that from muscle memory. It helps with drawing poses when you familiarise yourself with how the body morphs as it moves. It works even better with real people. Here's where I hit a snag. I thought I had way more of a handle with drawing braids than I actually did, which is a problem since Mai's character design is like 50% braid. You can see me drawing a small guide to remind myself how it works. Feel free to screenshot if you find it helpful. What you're going to see a lot is me trying to keep internal consistency with how I draw the braid. A lot of me asking myself, does this chunk of hair look connected like it's supposed to? You don't have to do that. As long as the viewer knows what they're looking at, you've succeeded. I just like the consistency. Colouring tip. Drawing the background before your flats helps with your colour relativity, as in it will make it easier to pick colours that fit with your environment. My main painting brush is Procreate Squash. Use whatever you have on hand. I use the lasso tool to fill in the base colour of the silhouette, then I clip my flats to the base layer, then I colour in the sketch to match, then I merge the sketch and the flats together, then, because all my flats are clipped to the base layer, I harmonise the colours by reducing the opacity slightly. Afterwards, I start blocking out the lights and shadows. My default is typically setting my light layer to add and my shadows to multiply, but this time I experimented with putting both on soft light. This isn't the final rendering just yet, so my blocking is very loose. I can always refine this later. After adding the subsurface scattering on the skin, you can see me going in with a darker multiply layer to make the shadows a bit darker. This is where I talk about colour value. 2 of my goals with this painting is emulating the same feel as the original portrait, as well as making the subject and the background distinct. Turning on colour filters on my iPad shows that the original portrait is much darker and my subject's hair shares similar values with the sky, which is not what I'm going for. Here's the before and the after. You see how much richer it feels when the values are all varied and distinct? Then, here comes the fun part, the layer above everything. I use primarily the Derwent pencil brush because with it I can blend colours without using the smudge tool. It is tedious, yes, but part of the fun is finding brushes and techniques that makes this digital style of painting easier for you. I like to get rid of all remnants of the sketch, so I'll typically make a layer above, redraw a key line I want to keep intact, and go back to the previous layer to paint over the sketch that remains. You can also spot the moment where I remembered the usefulness of the lasso tool as well. It was genuinely a breakthrough, making it go faster. From here, it's just a matter of refinement, blending colours, clearly defining shapes like this skirt. I even added some subtle bounce light to the shadows, following the same principle of using values to differentiate foreground and background. The hair, I find, is the most fun to draw in painting because you can truly do whatever the fuck you want with it. I restrained myself, frankly. I could have given her way more stray strands. This step, I find, takes the longest, mostly because it's hard to gauge when to stop. When I zoom out, I find a million more things I could tweak and make pretty. Even after all this, something felt missing, so I took a risk and whipped out some half-tone rake brushes. And thank God I did that. Now, adding this little bit of seasoning takes it way out of the painting style presented in Umineko, but I didn't give a shit because it looked really good. It was seasoning, the garnish you put on the meal before serving it to guests. After that, I did some additional tweaking, such as correcting the colours of this arm here, and I was satisfied enough with the painting to deem it complete. Here's the full thing, a higher quality version is available on my Tumblr. Hope you like this video. It's quite different from what I usually make, but I want to try experimenting with voiceovers. Hopefully with a different setup. I'm recording this underneath my duvet and gotta be honest, it's not very good for my neck. Happy birthday, Mai Akasaki! And also Danganronpa Despair Time. Isn't it interesting how both of them share the same anniversary/birthday? Lots to think about.